So I think we're just counting in seconds now to 7 o'clock, and then we're in 7 o'clock. Okay, we're 7 o'clock already. So thank you very much for joining us. Welcome. Today, my name is Kambai, and this is our fourth online session of the Mentor Me program. And we have with us a very special guest, and he was with us also last year in our very first edition, and we so much enjoyed the lesson, and we thought that he could give us much more of that lesson he gave us last year. So I've introduced myself, so I don't know. I'll hand over to Kuyet, and then Kuyet would hand it over to our speaker later. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Kambai. Thank you very much. So I think today we are going to find it difficult to see our faces, maybe because it is actually raining within our geographical area right now. So we just have to manage with ourselves. So first, my name is Kuyet, and I am a member of the Tyap Comedians user group based here in Kaduna State, Nigeria. And I'll just pass the mic back to Gwaka for brief introduction. As you finish, just pass it to the next person, please. Gwaka.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? It's raining here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Danjuma Gwakap Anthony. Um, uh, I'm chatting from Kaduna, Narai, and I'm the member of Tyap Wikimedians user group. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gwaka. All right. Zainab, are you there? Zainab Abdurrauf. Kindly introduce yourself if you're there. Okay. Okay. I can see Kali is here with us. Kali, please. Okay. I think we are going to have some difficulties, maybe probably network. Uh, okay. Holiness. If you are speaking, we
So
can hear
maybe we
you.
can just keep her, and then because her network seems to be very bad. The rain today
Yeah.
is because the heat is so much. I don't know how Europe is currently, but over here we are all sweating, and you can see there.
Honestly, the
So the
heat
rain
is
is,
much.
it came to help us to cool down the weather. So maybe we would pass it over to the next person then, before, so that we can.
Okay. Judith, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. My name is Judy John Gwazayet from KCG user group.
Thank you, Judith. Weham, can you? Weham, are you there?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name
Thank
is
you, Weham.
Wayham
Good evening.
Esther from Tyap Wikimedia user group. Thank you.
Thank you, Weham. Thank you. All right. So I think on this note, we're just going to take it back to Kambai as he introduce our facilitator for this year. So Kambai, over
Yeah,
to you.
yeah. Thank you very much, great, and thank you all for joining us in this very session. And without wasting time, I will just hand it over to Jan to take us to the permanent site. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kamba, and thank you, Koet, for inviting me to this. And I also had a great time the last time. I think we did some introduction to Sparkle queries that time. Today we will do another introduction. We're going to go introduction to charts. And I just want to start this with not a developer at Wikimedia Foundation. I'm just a happy user wanting to share what I have learned. So you're free to ask questions. I have an eye on the chat all the time, and I think we have plenty of time to get through what I have planned, and also some time afterwards. But feel free to post messages in the chat as soon as you have something. And I have some kind of slides, and I share them here. I'll share them again in the end as well. So because there's some links that might be nice for you to look up afterwards. But I'll start with sharing my screen then. And I think you'll see it now. And then I'll start the slideshow. Yes, that looks good. So as I said, I'm my username on the wikis is user Ainali, and is just the links to the slide, the same that are in the chat. So we used to have the extension graph enabled on the wikis, and they were quite nice, but there were some security issues with those, and they weren't properly maintained, the graph extension, or rather perhaps the library it was built on. So it was deactivated in 2023, and we had a lot of graphs in use, which suddenly just didn't show anything. And for various templates on various language versions, people put in, these are not working right now. And that right now turned out to be quite a long time, but finally, last year, the extension chart was enabled. So this is a totally different kind of extension to the MediaWiki family that got enabled. And now I think it's rolled out on most of the projects, or at least all the Wikipedia versions. And it's a quite neat little thing, in my opinion. And it has a very simple syntax if you're editing wiki text. It's just you put the curly brackets, hashtag chart, colon, and then something. And what is that something? Well, that something is a file name, .chart. It will always end with .chart, I think. And in practice, this is how it could look like. So curly brackets, hashtag chart, colon, and for this example, I chose Sweden electricity generation by source.chart. And if you take this wiki text and put it in any Wikipedia, you will end up with a chart, and the chart will look like this. So it's a fairly nice little chart, but it's more than just an image. So if you hover over it, you will see that you see the data points for each of these lines. So it's kind of interactive. And now the legends here are in Swedish. I'll show you some neat things with this later. But for now, we can also see we have the legends up here, so you can see this dark green line is what is water here, vatten. But what is even more useful is that these are also interactive. So up here, you can click on to enable or hide them. So, and this is just when you're looking, you're not changing it for anyone else. It's just for your viewer, as a viewer. And this is more than just a neat feature or a fancy feature, because if you hide more of them, it will automatically scale to fit more neatly. So if you see this light purple or blue line here that's going up, now it's going almost all to the top. But if I enable this one again, it will go down here to fit in this line, which is actually higher. So by hiding and enable or hiding these, you can actually sort of zoom in on the y-axis. So, and if I hide, this is the purple line. Now I can actually see what's here in the bottom. Whereas when I had them all enabled, this was just too small to even see here. But by hiding them, you can kind of get more use of it. So this is already quite powerful to show a graph like this for a reader. Now, the chart itself is defined on Wikimedia Commons. So that's why I said when I showed this syntax, you can take this and put it on any wiki because it's not defined on Swedish Wikipedia, even though we're viewing it right now on Swedish Wikipedia. So it's defined on Wikimedia Commons. And I'll show you how it looks over there. So I'll just open this in a new tab. And we're taken to the chart page on Wikimedia Commons. And it is in the data namespace. That's where it lives over there. And it's the same chart, but also as you see, when I come here, it's in English, whereas when I just showed you, it was in Swedish. So that's also, we can translate the charts on Commons then. And in the bottom, like in general, we can see where this is being used. And now we can see this is being used on my talk pages and in an article on Swedish Wikipedia, but also in an article on Portuguese Wikipedia. So let's click on edit source here to see how does this chart actually look in its raw form on Wikimedia Commons. So I'll click the edit source here, and we see that we actually see this is a JSON file format, I think, but it's basically just text. In the top, we have the license, we have some media wiki categories, and then we come to the important parts. We define the type of the chart as a line chart. We saw that it was line before. And then we have the title here translated into 4 different languages. We have English, we have Dutch, we have Portuguese, and Swedish. And if you want to add a new one, you just make a new row and you say, I want to do this in Finnish. And you add your translation in Finnish, whatever it is. Now I don't speak Finnish, so I cannot add this one here. But basically, that's how easy it is to add a translation of the title. And then you would do the same for the x-axis. Here we have the year, and the y-axis, which says something about the electricity. And then we see the source and then a help page link here. And we're going to come back to this source. So I'm going to close out of this without saving anything. I want to leave. There we go. So I'm back over here on my slides. And as we said, the data is also defined on Commons. Maybe let's go back again. So I'll open up this and just explain. Here we see a lot of lines, and we see a lot of values when I hover over here. But when I clicked the edit source, nothing is here of those values. So this page on Commons only define how the chart looks like, but not really what it contains. But that is defined by this line with the source, which is another page on Wikimedia Commons then. So I'll jump over here. So the chart is defined on Commons on something.chart, and then the data is defined something.tab. And these are not new. These we had for a while, and they were also used on the former extension. And here is how one of these looks like. We see as it is a table, there's some definitions in the top in the header, and then we have the data, year, and whatever values these are. And then in the bottom, we see something. This looks like a source, the license, and also where it's used. So here we can see that it actually is being used by this chart. We can export this if we want it to CSV or Excel, which is nice, but we can do other things as well. So if I click Edit Source on this page, we see a very similar thing where we have the definition of, or the description of the chart in 4 different languages. We have the source, and then we have year, and all the column headers here are translated, and then comes the data. So here is the data. And this doesn't look so easy to edit, but luckily in the top, we have a button here called Edit as a Table. So if I click that, we see the data, and here we can actually write something. So this is much easier. What we cannot do in this table is translate. So translation, for as we know for now, we do it in these fields. But it doesn't need to be more complex than just adding something here. And then you go, do I know year in another language? No, I don't. But I guess in Norwegian, it could be perhaps also, or maybe it is, I don't know. I'm not going to save this, but this is how easy it is to translate. You just put it in there. So I'll leave this, and these are the data pages then. So fairly straightforward. You need 2 things to create a chart on a page. You need the actual data, and there's a lot of data already because that has been enabled for many years on Wikimedia Commons. So you need a data page on Commons, and then you might need to create a new chart that specifies what data will I use and how do I want to show it. So let's go back to here. And you can also reuse already defined charts. So I see it's a little bit small here. I wonder if I can zoom, or yes, I can zoom here. You can see here I have this definition chart, which says population through years.chart. And then I have another parameter, data, population of USA.tab. And then I have the same population of UK.tab and the same population of Poland.tab. So if you have defined a good chart and you have data that is similarly made, and which might be very plausible if you download it from the same source, then you can actually reuse the chart with different kinds of data. So that might be very handy. And since this is also, if you have created a smart naming scheme, maybe you can even make this automatic with the template on your language version. So I think that's back to the Zoom. You can also add a chart with Visual Editor. So you don't need this syntax that I showed in the beginning with the curly brackets hashtag chart. You can add it by Visual Editor, press Insert, and then Graph. And then it will pop up with this little thing that says, okay, which chart do you want to use? And that one, of course, you have to say which chart you want to use. And then optional, you can say which data you want to use if you want to do like this and have different kinds of data. Usually it's defined by the chart, but you can change it here. And we have, for now, only 4 types of charts. We have the line chart, we have bar chart, area chart, and pie chart. And we already seen the line chart, so let's go to the bar chart. And it looks just like you would expect. We also have this interactivity here, so that when you hover over something, you see the actual values. you can hide here, but here it actually becomes nothing. But it could be useful if you have a bar chart where you have multiple values for each section, so to speak. Here we're talking about coal storage, nuclear, or something. So here, if you want to zoom in, you can hide the dark blue and the orange, and then it would actually automatically scale to fit, which might make it easier to see the smaller ones. And then you can enable it again. So that's the bar chart. Then we have the area chart, which is kind of like the line chart, but it adds them on top of each other. So the lines will never cross each other. Rather, the area will, or the distance between them will be the thing. So in the top here is sort of like the cumulative value, or the total addition, all added up. And in this specific one, we also see something that might be a little bit surprising. When we have a lot of different values, they might not fit the legend here. So we actually have a pagination, so we can flip through and to see them all. And here, of course, also it might help if you want to see something of these very smaller values here in the bottom that you can take. I think this is the purple one. If I hide that one, it gets a little bit easier. And now this is this light blue one. We'll turn that also off. Now you can actually see these values. So you can sort of zoom in on the y-axis. And you can have this totally arbitrary turned on and turned off. So you can turn on one and see that one in the top compared to all the others and so forth. So that's the area chart. Then we have the pie chart. And here I also discovered a bug just today, because this is the same text that is in the chart. So there's something leaking out from the chart here. So this shouldn't be viewable because it's not in the source, but it is in the text here. Something is happening. Anyway, that's that's a bug in the pie. I'll file a fabricator request for that later. The pie chart is also interactive like this, so you can hover and see what is the percentage of each of these slices. And if you want to hide perhaps the biggest one, you can also click on the legend, and it will all automatically scale again and do a recalculation of, so this always adds up to 100%. So it's also very nice and interactive if you want to compare the proportions between any of these values. So very nice and interactive. And then there's something called transformation, which is one of the latest features added. And we'll have a look on this particular data tab. And now there's some even. So here we have a data file on Wikimedia Commons where we have a lot of different columns. And the columns have also different kinds of values. So we have degrees here, we have millimeters here, we have average of snowy days, we have some percentage, hours. And maybe I don't want to show all of these in the same chart. Maybe I just want to show what the temperatures are or something like that. So that is possible by doing a transformation chart. And you need to define a new chart on Wikimedia Commons. So let's see if we can see that one over here. Here we have actually that chart. And here we have defined one that's looking for precipitation and has millimeters. And if we look in the source here, we can see that it's sort of the same as the regular ones, but then we have something called transform, which basically means that you can select some columns to show. So you don't have to have them all. And this is also a little bit more flexible than just this. So if you create something that have the transform, you can then also change the columns from the call. So I can say, I want to see the month, I want to see these are the temperatures, daily mean, and the mean and the daily max. And that would look like this. So here we have 3 on each of them. So this is sort of like makes it very flexible from a big data set. Now, if you're looking very careful, you will see something odd here. So yes, I have the mean daily minimum degrees, mean daily degrees, and the mean daily maximum degrees. But the y-axis still says precipitation in millimeters. Now this isn't millimeters, this is in degrees Celsius. So it turns weird. So you have to look for that when you do the transformations, that you make a selections of columns that make sense with the chart definition. So it's flexible enough so you are free to show something that doesn't fit with the definition. So if we go back here to the definition of the chart and look at it, we can actually see, well, yes, here we have the precipitation only and millimeters. So that makes sense. But then you can override it locally. So depending on what you want to do, you might need to create a new chart. And creating a new chart is not that complicated. Basically, you can just do the edit source, copy this, and create a new page on Wikimedia Commons and paste it in, and then change the things you want to change. Maybe you want to have another selection of columns here. So you could select the temperatures instead to get the right things on the axis and write the right things on the y-axis. But it's very adaptable for you as a user. So you have a lot of choice. All right. So how do you find the existing charts? So you can do a regular search on Wikimedia Commons in the data namespace, and maybe let's just try to do that. So you have the search up here, and if I search for, let's say, Sweden and do a search, then of course this is not exactly what I want, because here I get the images. How do I get the data? Well, then you have to switch back to the regular search where you can define the namespaces. So if I uncheck all of these other things and only check for data and do a search, then suddenly I get charts, probably the data tabs later also, but we do get a lot of charts. So that's one way we can search for something. And of course, you don't need to search for Sweden. You could have searched for population or something, and then you get all the population things that are in the data namespace, which might be a lot. Here we will probably also see charts and for cities, for areas, for countries, and so forth. So lots of charts to already just find on Wikimedia Commons and make use of on the wikis in your language version. And then there's also not so well used yet, but there's a category tree being built on Wikimedia Commons, and we'll look at that as well. So the category data::chart, where we can see that we have area charts, bar charts, line charts, pie charts. So charts defined by the type. And then we also have some of the transformed charts. And as you can see, we have lots more transformed charts than the other ones, because that's, of course, you can do them. One can become many, so to speak. But I do think we have a lot more charts on Wikimedia Commons than just these. This is just like 200 or something. They're just poorly poorly categorized so far. But then there's also another trick. This extension adds a tracking category, and here's the link to the Wikidata item for that category. And if you go there, you can find, oh, here's the tracking category on all the Wikipedia versions that already exist. And then you can go there and find articles that are using a chart, and then simply reuse that where you want to do it. So let's have a look on the German Wikipedia. And let's take the first one and scroll down. And here we see something a little bit different than I showed you before. Here we have something like saying definition, which links to Wikimedia Commons and a link to help page. That I didn't have on the charts I showed. And that's because German Wikipedia, they have sort of embedded this in a template where you use it. So rather than calling this with a hashtag chart, they have created a template that do this for you. So instead you define here which chart is it that you want, and with a parameter in the template, which then allows them to also style it like this. So that's one way that German Wikipedia is doing it. Now let's see if we jump back and see how English Wikipedia is doing it, because they're doing also tiny bit different. And let's check, for example, an election here. We'll scroll down until we see a chart. And here we have a line chart. And here we also see view source data. So it's a little bit different than the German one that had in the side. It is suggests for us that this is also not the raw chart. And indeed, if we do look at how this is done, they have a template called chart, and where they say, yes, this is the data I want to have. This is the chart file that we're using. They also add in the width in there, so you can style the width accordingly. So it's good for you to check in the language version where you want to add a chart. Is it a policy or a guideline or recommendation to use a template, or should you use the raw definition? Just to stick with the conventions of your language version. So that's a good way to look out for. So you're not doing it in another way. And if you don't have a template but think it would be neat, you might suggest it. There are a few options then to look at and copy. So let's close this one again. That's how you can find them. And then if you want to start from scratch, how do you upload data on Wikimedia Commons? So this is a bit different because we don't upload data like we upload files on Wikimedia Commons. Instead, we're actually creating a page. So this is just a link for me that I click, and I'll go here, and this was an empty page. So now I'm in editing mode of a new page on Wikimedia Commons in the data namespace, and it also had the .tab in the end, so it knew I want to create some data here. And very guiding, I get some basic JSON template here that I can just edit. So here I'll put the description. It suggests, say where you got your sources from, and what fields do you have, do you want some categories, and what will the data be like. And this is not the easiest to to understand. But if you show the preview, you will sort of see, this is how it will render. Here's where the table description will go. Header 2 will go to here, and the value piece will go over here. So you can sort of see that. But also here you have the edit as a table. Do you have a question, sign up? Or, oh, it was a heart. All right. You also have the edit as a template here. So here you can also edit it. Now, it's not the most, if you find a data set somewhere with something interesting, let's say it's population for your city over 50 years, you don't want to sit and write this. But then luckily we have here, it's sort of like hidden in plain sight, but there's actually an option to import CSV or XLSX files. So you can just select the file here, and let's see a recent. I'll just take this is a result from one of my Wikidata queries I did recently, and it just imports it. And you get this all. You don't need to do a lot more than, well, let's show a preview to see what it did look like. And all right, this doesn't make sense to upload to Wikimedia Commons right now, but you could just see, I could just take a file, which was a CSV, and it would import it. And it took the headers here, and now I will probably want to change these because this is for an import. So they totally formatted for something else. But that's how easy you could import something. And then, of course, as with anything, you publish the page when you're done editing and fixing it with this. Now I want to publish this because I don't want to import. One thing to notice, though, is as with every upload on Wikimedia Commons, you should specify which license this is. And by default, it adds the CC0 license. So if your data comes with another license, you have to change this manually in the top of the file. So it becomes correct. All right, so let's jump back from that one, leave this, back to this. Now, there are some limitations to these files. We saw that there were only a few chart types. There are feature requests for many more, so we'll see when they will actually come. Now, I think someone is not muted.
Sister is not here. She's in the kitchen.
Sorry, please, can you mute
You
your
know it's her mouth.
audio? Oh,
You know it's her mouth. Come
Queen,
on, figure out.
can you please
Queen,
mute your?
Queen, please mute your mic.
There we go. All right. So the chart types, they are few. We saw that only 4. There are coming more. Dates, like in year, month, and day, are a little bit tricky. They are not that magical to understand, but there is pretty good documentation. And basically, what they officially support is this date format, where it's 4 years, 2 months, 2 days. Then some other might work, but they're not officially supported. So if they're in some other order or with some other with slashes, you might need to change that before you import it to get the dates to work correctly. So have that in mind because dates is of course very common to have in charts, having a change over time. So that is something that might be something we trip over that might be a little bit difficult. And I think everybody is asking, well, can we use Wikidata? Unfortunately, not yet. There are two different Fabricator feature requests for that. One that you should be able to use Sparkle to get Wikidata, which would be super nice if you can had a query that sort of defined the data set, which means that you don't need to store it on Wikimedia Commons. If someone updates Wikidata, it would be could be automatically updated. We don't have this yet. It might come. Another way that we would perhaps want to do is just get static values from Wikidata. We cannot do that either. But it's noted, so people are aware. They're also coming styling. I think you might have noticed that was all my graphs had like similar colors, and that's because there is one theme which is available, and it's all automatic. So you cannot right now change the colors at all. And this is something also that we quite commonly do on Wikipedia. For example, if we have, like we saw the elections graphs, maybe you would want the bars or the lines to have the same color as the political party usually is associated with. That's very common. We cannot do that right now, but Wikimedia Foundation is very aware that this is something that we want. So that's a feature request in there. The template that they have right now is one that is chosen for being accessible. So if you have various ways to deficiencies to see color, if you have colorblind or something, these are sort of optimized to be as good as possible. Might not work for everybody, but it's still something taken into consideration when selecting that template. And I think that is what I wanted to show. I got through all of this. Do we have any questions immediately in here? Or something that you want me to show more on?
Uh, as for me, I was actually looking at the possibilities. Thank you very much, yeah, Ian, for all the lessons. So I was looking at the possibility of us using it in the native, I mean, in our local Wikipedia, maybe for the representation of um, maybe temperature. So, but you have already explained it. And then also, I was also hoping maybe we can also use it to represent specific categories that maybe in the whole of the Wikipedia we have about 800 words. What percentage of the Wikipedia has articles related to a particular topic, like let's say women, or what percentage has for animals, and what percentage of categories belongs to the plants, stuff like that. I think can we be able to use it in that very manner?
Yes. So right now, we can't calculate on the fly in a chart. But you could, of course, if you look up what are the percentage today, and what were it a year ago or something like that. If you can look that up in some other ways, you can store that data on a page on Wikimedia Commons, and then you can make a beautiful chart for that. So that's certainly possible. Which language version is your? What's the language code?
Oh, yeah, KCG.
KCG.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see if I can. I'll go here. I'll copy this. And then did I have a link somewhere? So we'll go to kcg.wikipedia.org. No, did I hear you wrong? Not KCG, is it?
Yeah, KCG. That's Tyap.
KCG.
Yeah, KCG.
Why did it? Ah, there we go. There we go. And then if I, let's have a look at my page, and do I have a, let's do a test sandbox here and create that. Yes. So let's see if this works. Yes. So here, so you can bring in any charts that are on Wikimedia Commons. They are available for your language versions already. So you can just browse around to see what's already there. And as you see here on Swedish Wikipedia, we saw this one in Swedish. And since we didn't have a translation to Tyap yet, it is a fallback to English, which is maybe not great, but it's probably better than showing it in Swedish, I guess. More likely that you can understand the English one. But you could, of course, also then just go and translate this if you wanted to use this one over here by adding, where would it go? Here, the title then would be KCG colon and then whatever electricity generation by source would be. And now I didn't spell that correctly there. But that's how you would do it. So you can, for the ones that are on Wikimedia Commons, you can start translating and using them, or just using them if English is better than nothing for now. So it's all up to you how to do this. So it's all available already. So that was very nice. Good to test that.
All right, thank you very much. So maybe if any of us also have questions to ask, please do to ask. I can see we have even Zainab. Maybe you may be interested in adding it to the House of Wikipedia, and
Yes, I see
I
the
don't know.
question there.
Yeah.
So here again is a link to the slides, and to, there we go. Now I have a user script showing these as slides, but all the links works. So if I jump out here, it's just a wiki page, but I made it more beautiful to show them as slides.
Okay, Jan, thank you very much. I think the presentation is quite enlightening. But now, just as you all know, we have people who are just totally, entirely new to the Wikipedia activities. So on this note, now my question will be, what is the importance of this chat? Just in simple terms, what is the importance of this chat to the Wikimedia activities that volunteers are venturing in?
Yes,
What makes this chat so important?
yeah, that's a great question, and I should have started in that end. I'm sorry to sort of skip that. Thank you for reminding me. So charts is essentially illustrations that can deepen your understanding of a topic by displaying something that might be rather complex in something that you can just visually see. So imagine if I have all of these on here. If you're talking about, and this chart is actually used in the electricity in Sweden article on Wikipedia. And if you in text are trying to explain how much wind and solar power is increasing in Sweden and how recently it happened, it might be take you a lot of words to say that, but also it might be very difficult to understand. But if you look at this bright blue thing and see how quickly it rises, just from 2010, before that it was almost not a lot at all, but from 2010 to 2024, in 14 years, you can see that it's almost as much as nuclear power in Sweden. So it's catching up, and trying to write all of this, like how it's happened over time, is quite a task, but it makes it easier for someone to just to view this, see the data as an illustration, and aha, there's some shift happening in Sweden. We can see that solar and wind is increasing. And we can also see that biofuels started a little bit early. It's kind of flat right now, so that's not increasing. Maybe it's at its maximum. We can see the last few years, the nuclear was actually decreasing. And I think that's because I think there was a power plant closed from 2019 to 2020 because it was so old. So that's why we are having charts to explain things that might be tricky otherwise. And what other examples do we have? Like this is also something that tells you something. Oh, it looks like it's actually increasing in tempo. So it's not only increasing, it's going quicker and quicker. You can easily see that on a chart like this, where it was mostly flat, and then started, and then woo, it takes off. So that's the value of charts as illustrations. But it is an illustration in a way. It should complement something that is in the wiki text, so that people understand why is this chart even in this article. Because usually, well, this was fairly good. This one said cumulative installed photovoltaics capacity in Australia. So you kind of understand what it's trying to say, but it would be even better if there was some text in the article also talking about this, so you get a context of, oh, why do we have this graph? Maybe there was in 2018 some sort of economic incentive to install photovoltaics, and that's why it's taking off. Great question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jan, for explaining that. Okay, just a final one. This data that I'm seeing displaying here now, are these AI generated or they are manually imputed? These data.
Yes. So everything here is stored as static files on Wikimedia Commons. And I think Wikimedia Commons wouldn't not say allow, but it doesn't make sense to have it AI generated, because for the solar capacity in Australia, we would find the official source at the agency controlling this and upload the data from there to Wikimedia Commons. So I can't swear by it, but I don't think we have any AI generated. I hope we don't have any AI generated data on Wikimedia Commons. I hope it's all true data.
Yeah, I hope so too, Jan.
Yes.
Because I don't want to believe that this is AI generated. I don't want to believe that either.
No.
Okay. So thank you very much. I think I'm clear on this one. So in case any other person have any question, because our time is fast spent, please, if you have a question, do well to shoot while Jan is still here, because when he leave and you ask me a question, I can only answer the one I know, not from getting it directly from Jan. So we have an advantage. Please ask your question. Any question at all? It seems everybody is comfortable. It's like everybody is actually enjoying the session.
That's good to hear. And
All
of
right.
course, if you do have questions later, feel free to ping me on any of my talk pages. So I would be happy to help.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So I think on this note, it is very unlikely that we have another question. Come by. Anything from you?
No, mine is that um, I can't just be able to explain it right now, but I will go and make practicals because after the session last year on the Spark QL, we
Yes, Pakio.
actually practicalized some of them here on Wikidata's during the Wikidata's program. So we're able to calculate how many lexemes we had for about three languages in the community. So for this very one, I think this very one is very good in terms of making your Wikipedia like because usually I've been wondering how are those charts made when I see some Wikimedians write reports and then they give you look okay from 1989 to 1999. This is the per Wikipedia. So I'll be wondering what tool are they actually using. So I think it is very clear right now that this is actually probably the tool that they are using, and then we too would actually like take time to study the whole thing and see how we can be able to use it very well also in the tier Wikipedia. So my great appreciation to Ian for this very session. And I also hope that another time she'll come and give us another new one because this one is quite new. And we also need something new again from him.
Yeah.
So my great appreciation.
Okay, thank you very much, Kambai. Thank you again, Jan. I think on this note, I don't think anybody have any other question. So just a special thanks to Jan. I honestly I don't know how to thank you enough. But I guess are you are coming for Wikimania?
I am.
Awesome, awesome. So I don't want to say what is going to happen, but I that's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you everyone for taking your time. Do know that first of us who might be having network issue trying to connect to this call. Note that the session is being recorded and we have it very very clear on YouTube. Do well to go to YouTube and rewatch it again. So thank you very much everyone. And if you have a question, we will give you have access to Jan through his talk page on the Wikimedia, and then you can reach out to him and he will respond to all your questions. And Jan, also note that this particular Mentor Me program, this is the stream 1 for this year. So we are going to have the stream 2, which is coming up in the second half of the year. So should in case come by reach out to you to get another audience from you, please, I hope you will not deny us the opportunity.
I
Awesome.
would love
So
to be on again. Thank you.
all right. Thank you very much. So, everyone who is on the call, want to appreciate you so seriously. I think we are right on time. We arrive. I think we kick off on time and we arrive on time. So this is 2 minutes to 7. I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined the call from the beginning to this moment. We just want to say thank you. And for you who are within Kaduna, remember tomorrow we are going to have another special session in person. We're going to be introducing you to Wikipedia properly, how to edit the English Wikipedia properly. So we have a very important guest who will be joining us tomorrow. Do well to be part of it. And thank you so much. So I think from me to you, I don't have much to say. But yeah, any final word from you before we go?
I just thank you for inviting me and thank you for doing this Mentor Me series. It's really important that the communities are learning from each other and keeping up the friendly spirit that you're showing.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So on this note, on behalf of Tyap Wikimedians user group, I just want to say thank you again, and I hope to see us all these beautiful faces in our next session. Thank you, and do have a good evening and rest. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.
Good evening.
Yeah, bye bye. Thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.